Do you have the gift of gab and like talking about interesting topics? Are you often called opinionated by your friends and family? Then come to Anchor where you can be all of the above and get paid for it. Along with being one of the easiest systems to create contact with, Anchor supplies everything you need and can be used from your smartphone or computer. They even distribute your content for you so that you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Hello, bookworms. This is Anjanette Potter, also known as Adam's Rib, and this is part 2 of my review for Jackie Rod's Georgia Stories on My Mind. So, as a little bit of review, the theme Georgia Stories on My Mind is a play on the Georgia State song Georgia on My Mind, which has been most famously recorded by artist Ray Charles. So this is a short, the book is a short anthology. Anthology is a series of short stories, in this case short stories, all set in Georgia, in different parts of Georgia. It's a work of fiction. To me, it's reminiscent of the late Mary Higgins Clark, in that most of the themes involve women who have successful, you heard me talk before about Miss Higgins Clark on my last radio show on Eclectic Weekends when they announced that she had passed away. The women seem to be successful in their careers, but have very complicated, I won't say complicated, but like we all do, have, I wouldn't say troublesome past, but very varied past. In the first story, there was a theme of child sexual abuse, along with a missing father. There was a story of, twins who had a very troubled relationship of competition, especially over guys. Another one seemed to deal with the aftermath of a divorce or separation. So, and in another one, the woman was dealing with an issue of extreme poverty in her youth. So basically, they had very varied backstories. They also had relatively complicated love lives. Some common themes in the book were many of them left small towns to go into larger cities and had to come back to their town of origin in order to they would come back for one set of business, but recognize that there were issues back in their town that they had left unresolved, and most of those issues were the reason that they left town in the first place. So there was a lot of making peace with your past, a lot of unresolved childhood issues, past abuse, as I said earlier, revisiting home, and I have it in home in quotes because there is a poem about not being able to go back home, depending on how you define home. I think a lot of times we have to reckon with the fact, I grew up in Massillon, Ohio. I was born here in Columbus on Lockbourne Air Force Base. And so I grew up in Massillon and spent a lot of time in Massillon and Canton, which is the Stark County area. And every so often I go back for visits and everything, or I go back to a home game because we have the infamous Massillon Tiger game. And, the Massillon McKinley game, excuse me. So the Massillon McKinley game is a tradition that happens every year. It's fun. Usually there's in Maslin, since that's where I grew up, there would be Beat McKinley week. So the entire week they would celebrate in advance whether or not they were going, the victory in advance of beating McKinley. Likewise, McKinley would have Beat Maslin week. So, you're going back, and you may see people that at the games and different things. Mercifully for me, I usually wind up talking to a lot of my friends from there on Facebook, which for me is a positive thing. So I get to talk to them and let them know that, I'm on my way back up there, if I'm going back up there, and, where I'm sitting, and if I run into them, cool, and everything. But I would be there for the game. You get to see the game, not real expensive, and it's nice to be able to participate in that, homegoing spirit and everything. But you also deal with the fact that much of the town has changed. Or, maybe the reasons why you left may not even be the same anymore. I probably never move back, but I still like having the freedom to visit. So, another theme was answering the unanswered. So like I said in last week, the first story had to do with a young lady who was dealing with issues of abandonment and thinking that her father had left and went for that stereotypical pack of cigarettes and didn't return. And in reality, what happened was he ran across some misfortune, and, it took his life, and they just never knew. He was just never recovered or anything. Others, I'm trying to think of the other one. Others were, just various different stories of questions that, the main character had a issue with that didn't get, that, they thought for years that it was one thing and it turned out to be something else. Misunderstandings that got resolved. And also resolving family conflict. So I highly recommend this book. I think if you're a Mary Higgins Clark fan, now these are short stories, so these are not, there's some mystery to some of them, but they're not out of the mystery genre as far as the suspense that you would get out of a Mary Higgins Clark. But it is definitely a page turner, because it is very engaging, and you do wonder what's going to happen next. And she's also very descriptive. So much of her story, she's a very excellent storyteller. Miss Rod is a very excellent storyteller, and that you feel, I like those books. Now that part where she kind of almost reminds me of Terry McMillan, who is the author behind the Waiting to Exhale books. She wrote she's most famous for Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back. But she, of course, is also a famous author in her own right. But her descriptiveness of the small towns that she's describing, and of those Georgian small towns, is very reminiscent of Terry McMillan and like I said, the late Mary Higgins Clark. As far as the descriptiveness, you feel like you're there. This is a book that you can sit down and get lost in. And I belong to a couple of I know I need to stop saying but I belong to a couple of Facebook book groups and book pages for people who are bookworms like myself. And one of the common jokes with people who love books is, now the book is over, and you wonder, like, what am I going to do with my life now? Because because the book is over. And so this book is sort of that book where once you start to really get into it, it's really hard to put down, because like I said before, even though this is because this is not meant to be a thriller, it is really just semi-romantic. And when I say semi-romantic, if you're it's semi-romantic in that it doesn't pour it on, because I'm not a big romance novel type person, but I do like books that have somewhat of, the romance is between her and the state of Georgia. The romance is between the main characters and their love interests. One thing I've always liked about the lady I'm comparing her to, but also one of the things I like about this book is that, the women do have, they're not so into their careers that they don't have a love life, but their love lives are, I won't say complicated, like you don't know your status, but each of them are going through real women's struggles of maybe marrying too early and now having to sort your life out from that, second guessing themselves, being insecure about the relationships that they're in, having, the things that we as women go through. You get older, and if you are not the age of the heroines, you remember those ages, you remember those stages of your life. You know what it's like to be freshly divorced, and now you don't have to answer to a husband anymore. You also know what it is to have unresolved issues that are messing you up in your love life and causing you to trip around a lot. You also know what it is to have unresolved issues of competition. Have competition issues with family members. You just you sympathize with every single emotion that these women are having with their loved ones, their family members, their co-workers, and different other stuff like that. So if you are going to be on BookWorm, I highly recommend that you enter your name so that you can try to win a copy, because I think you'll really like it. If not, you can always visit her website and order a copy. Like I said, really recommend it. It is an excellent book. It is an excellent read. I enjoyed I enjoyed all that I got to read of it and everything, and I really believe that you'll like it. If you're visiting my website, I will have the dates of the remaining. I will have the dates posted on the video clip, just like I did last week, so that you'll be able, just like I did last week, or was it a couple weeks ago? But I will have the remaining dates listed so that you'll be able to visit the other sites. Once again, make Miss Rod feel very welcome, like you guys always do. Ask a lot of questions. Ask her any questions that you would like to ask. Ask me any questions that you would like to ask. On the 29th, I will also be doing, a review and interview with author Valerie Nefora for her book, I Asked to Win. So, I'm in March. So the next few weeks, this month and next month, I'm going to be pretty busy participating with the WOW Women on Writing blog book tours. I'm also going to step up my game for 2020. My theme for 2020 is 2020 vision, which means, a clearer perspective. I will be doing a blog post on that pretty soon on I'm not sure which blog I'm going to put it on yet. I'm also for my Anjanette Speak blog. If you want to visit it, I'm doing 29 days of Black feminism in honor of Black History Month. So if you feel like you would like to visit it, please feel free and click on any of the videotapes for any of the women that I have represented as feminists. I'm doing the traditional feminists, but I'm also doing a lot of the more current voices in Black feminism. So I welcome you guys to come and listen to anything that I have posted. Right now, everything that I have posted is either with my podcast, but also my YouTube channel. And over the weekend, I'll be posting my videos to my blogs, so that those of you who are subscribed to my blogs will be able to click on them and read them. And for the newer feminists, I'm going to have their web pages so that you can go to their blogs and check them out, first person. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. You guys have a blessed weekend. Enjoy your loved ones. Enjoy worship if you go on Sunday. I will be at Bedside Baptist. So those of you who do go, pray for those of us who are not currently in a church, that we, find a church or, get whatever issues we may have with a church resolved. And I will be talking to you guys on the net. Have a blessed one. Hello, you have reached the message line for Adam's Rib Media Ministry. If you would like to give me a shout out, recommend some topics for discussion, or give an opinion about some topics that I've already discussed, either here on my podcast or on my blogs, leave me a message and I will get right back to you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.